In this video, I want to talk to you guys about how we structure LinkedIn ads targeting for B2B offerings and even some B2C, more consumer offering. Okay, LinkedIn is primarily a platform that's going to be best suited, best served for offerings that are more related to career development, recruiting. You're targeting some white collar professions, so private equity, private real estate, law attorneys, venture capital, older industries. You're going after an older, more corporate style of clientele, or you have a clear B2B offering. The things that I've seen it not work super well on in terms of LinkedIn are more B2C type offerings that more relate around health, wellness. We do have a couple relationship offers that are working well on the platform. We've spent close to about $10 million on paid ads over the last 4 years running my agency across 25 different industries. So we advertise on Meta, LinkedIn, PPC, YouTube. It entirely depends on the business. What we see is working. There's some businesses where I tell them there's a huge arbitrage. There's not a lot of entrenched players in kind of that small business range that are playing on LinkedIn. So sometimes you can get an insanely high ROI. The only caveat being is that unlike Meta, where the targeting is phenomenal and the AI is phenomenal, and there's 50,000 data points per user, LinkedIn, the average user is spending 7 minutes a day on there, versus on Meta and Instagram, it's sometimes upwards of multiple hours per day. So the sheer amount of data that they are collecting allows the targeting to be much more precise and much more tailored. So really, when I think about Meta, I think about there's two variables that I have to solve. I have to solve the creative aspect, and I have to solve that's it. When I'm on Meta or I'm on Instagram, the only variable that I really have to solve for is the creative issue, versus when I'm on a platform like LinkedIn, targeting is going to be the biggest factor. The media buying is going to be the biggest factor. Obviously, you do have to have a good creative, good offer and everything there, and proof of concept with your offering, but your media buying and your advertising skills are super, super applicable. And those are skills that I hadn't really exercised in a few years when the algorithm shifted on Meta towards more broad targeting and the AI was just doing everything for you. Okay. So I want to show you just a very, very quick kind of tactical guide as somebody who's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per month profitably on Meta and LinkedIn, collectively, how you can target to minimize the amount of advertising spend that you're incurring every single month. And hopefully LinkedIn can be a great source of diversification for you. So if you're spending 300 grand a month on Meta, that's a big risk to your business. Maybe you can allocate and diversify and put 10 or 20 or 30% of your business on LinkedIn or PPC to give you more stability and allow you to sleep better at night. Particularly if you don't have a lot of revenue retention. We know that Meta can be incredibly volatile during certain times of the year. It'll help a lot if you can have some diversifying channels. So I want to show you how you can do that on LinkedIn, but obviously it comes down to your business, if it makes sense for you or not. So let's just quickly go into and show you some examples of audiences that we're targeting. Okay. So really what we're finding is that the smallest audience you can target is about 5,000 persons up to about 1 million person audience size. I'm finding the sweet spot is between 1 and 200,000 people is typically where I'm getting the best results possible. Okay. Now it really depends on the industry that you're targeting, what will make sense for your business. If you believe there's clear-cut job titles for your industry that you could target in, I'd highly encourage you to start targeting with job titles. Okay. Now, if you are more interested in just targeting high-level executives or decision makers in a specific industry, I highly recommend that you use job seniority. Okay. And then you can filter by industry. So you'll type in seniority. So you can narrow by job experience. Doesn't allow you to do that when you have, you can go into job seniority. And typically what I'm using is I'm trying to go after a decision maker. I don't care too much exactly what their job title is specifically. I more care about that they're an executive, they're a partner, or they're an owner, or they're C-suite in the company. And I'll just target some of these smaller businesses with these varying levels of job seniority. And then the next filter that I'm adding on top of there is the company industry filter, right? So if I just want to go after, let's say I wanted to go after lawyers and I wanted to sell them marketing services, right? I don't think it's necessary to target based on the job title, because what you really just want is you want to find the owners of those companies, the decision makers, the people that are higher ups, because oftentimes what we're finding is that you can run the ads and then one particular department or one particular person higher up in the company will see that ad and then redirect it to somebody else in the company, especially if you're leveraging some of, we use a lot of AI tools in our LinkedIn advertising campaigns. We scrape their LinkedIn profile based on their response, and then we send them tailored messages, get an incredibly high response rate. Another thing that you're going to notice, just LinkedIn versus some of the other channels that you're working with, is that LinkedIn people are very, very responsive via email, versus Meta, it's primarily driven through calling and SMS, where you're going to get the highest response rate. People here on LinkedIn are very plugged in. They're very responsive. They're very cognizant of their personal and professional reputation, and they very much are monitoring and just cognizant of their inbox and their email. Okay. So we're finding that email marketing, will in a lot of instances account for 60 to 70% of revenue, and appointments being booked are coming off the back of email marketing, and only about 10 to 30% are coming as a result of SMS and phone calls. Now that is completely flipped and the opposite when we're advertising on Meta and YouTube and primarily going after consumers. Okay. So you have two options. If you believe there's a clear-cut job title, then pick that job title. If you believe that you're just kind of going after somebody senior in the organization or somebody junior in the organization, you can filter by an industry and a job seniority. Now, if your audience size is too large, let's just say we do like attorneys, right? Okay. Now this is going to be enormous, right? Okay. So attorneys, so that's actually a healthy audience size. Let's just say lawyer. So lawyer is, even that's not too bad. Okay. I thought it would be bigger. Okay. Let's just say this was 7 million or 10 million or something like that. That's a bit too large, and the AI needs more help, and it needs to be a little bit more precise in the targeting. If you remember, like back in the day, like I started advertising on Meta in 2016, 2017, we would market towards an audience, and then we continuously use the breakdown tab and the features there to see where are the majority of the conversions happening in the age demographics and the, the device demographics. And then we would trim it. We would find that all the return was coming from advertising on desktop versus mobile, or we'd find all the revenue was coming from, 40 to 60 women as opposed to 20 to 40. And we were targeting 20 to 60. So we'd trim the fat. We get a big boost in ROI when we would manually trim it. Meta is a platform where you still in 2025 have to be doing all of that manual trimming yourself, versus on Meta, what you'll find in 2025 is that it's doing a lot of that for you. Okay. You don't even need to do the adjustments. It's already going to optimize for you if you're training the pixel in the right way. Okay. So if you need to narrow further, okay, what you need to do is the filters and the ways that you're going to slice it and make it smaller. Part number one is you're going to do company size. Okay. So you can do company size and you can filter by varying levels of company sizes. Okay. You have to make sure that you're correct here. You don't want or and. Okay. We wanted and there, not or. Okay. So we can do 2 to 10. You're going to find your lead costs are lower from about 2 to 50 employees. And then it starts to get very expensive, but you're going after bigger enterprises. So it's up to you if you want to do that. The other thing that you want to be using is you want to be using a lot of exclusions. Okay. So you're going to find that a lot of your budget is going to be allocated towards industries that don't make sense. Okay. So if you're going after these lawyers here, okay, let's close that. What you're going to find is you're going to go to industry and you're going to find that some of these industries would make no sense for you. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to be targeting, okay, what you specifically want, and then you want to be excluding everything that you don't want, unlike Meta. Okay. Like for instance, it might make no sense for you to be targeting somebody who is a lawyer in the wholesale or the utility industry. Okay. So let's just, okay, we just selected everything. Okay. So for instance, now you can even go deeper and now we can actually just drill into the wholesale industry here. But for instance, you probably don't want somebody in the education sector, right? So if that's a 22,000 person audience, do you really want people that are lawyers inside the education sector? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but it's very, very clear that you're cognizant of that, because what you're going to see is once you start advertising, you want to go into the professional demographics and you're going to see that there's certain job functions and there's certain job titles that are just going to drive the majority of the results for you. Okay. And you're going to see where the budget is allocated. And you're like, holy shit, I don't want 7% of my advertising budget going to the military for that makes no sense. So it forces you, LinkedIn, because the AI is not as sophisticated, it forces you to think super clearly about like, who is the ICP? No, it's just not lawyers with more than 5 employees. It's probably lawyers in a specific industry with a specific company size in these verticals and in these industries, right? So you might find that, okay, 90% of my results are, with IT, information technology. Okay. I want to narrow it by, but about 40% of my budget is going towards these things that have nothing to do with it. You would then go back into the LinkedIn Ads Manager and you would narrow by those industries there. Okay. You want to narrow by company sizes. You want to narrow by industries, by job titles that don't make sense, by certain seniorities that make sense. We have a client that does career consulting and they help people land a job at a particular career level. We have to exclude, we're targeting the associate level in this particular industry, and we're excluding everything above that. You would think that if you just target that industry and this lower level, this associate level of candidate, that spend wouldn't be allocated up here. That's not the case. You have to tell it what you want, then tell the inverse of what you don't want. Otherwise, you're going to see budget going there and wasted ad dollars going there. Okay. So what I recommend that you do is you want to have a cost cap bidding strategy of about 20 unique audiences that range from that 10,000 person to that, call it a 1 million person audience size. They put a low aggressive bid. Okay. We don't reveal exactly our entire strategy A to Z unless you're a paying client, but roughly that's the direction that you want to go to. Okay. Start with an aggressive bid. You could raise it if you're not getting spend allocated. Okay. And then you want to target 20 unique audiences, hold the creative constant, take a winning creative if you can. Ideally, LinkedIn is going to be a platform that is really a point of diversification for your business. It's not a proof of concept platform for your business. You can get a proof of concept here, meaning that you've never advertised before and, create a cold traffic acquisition system on LinkedIn, but it's much more common. It's much easier to do that on Meta because of the targeting options you have available to you. Most of my clients have winning creative, winning copy, winning messaging, winning sales process already. And then we're just cloning that copy, and I'm just filling in the job titles in the industries that make sense for their business. We take that winning messaging. You're going to have to incur a massive advertising budget on LinkedIn if you want this to be your proof of concept platform, because you're going to have to incur both the cost of testing new funnels, new creatives, and you're going to have to test different targeting options there. Make sure you create a detailed financial model in terms of what you're looking for. Okay, so we know cost per lead, cost per call, show up rate, close rate, average cash collected. Okay, so that you're not caught off surprise. You should have early and leading indicators in terms of your lead costs as to whether or not your campaign is going to be profitable. But that is pretty much the gist of it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm doing when I'm setting up these campaigns that I didn't mention to you. Now, if you find a particular job title that's working exceptionally well for you, you can expand that to people who also have that past job title that might make sense for your business, that might not make sense for your business. Always have this unchecked. This will destroy your results if you do that here. We're typically opting in for the image ad placement as opposed to the video advertisement placement. It's 50% cheaper. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. That's pretty much the gist of it. For our full playbook and our full guide, you would have to book a call on our team. And if you qualify for our Done For You agency, you're doing multiple six figures per month. You can qualify for our Done For You agency if you're doing less than six figures per month. We have Done With You consulting options. Okay. Just all you need to do if you want more information on this LinkedIn advertising process that's generated us close to $8 million in revenue at this point for about 25 different industries. All you need to do is schedule a call here. You'll jump on a call with somebody on my team or myself directly, and we're just going to walk through your entire business. We can do a full ad account audit for you for free and see if it makes sense to work with each other. Okay. You might have a great platform working with you, for you. You might have an agency that you like a lot. You can still have a conversation with us because we'll audit what your current agency is doing for you, give you a second opinion, and then we'll also talk to you about a different channel. Maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's PPC, maybe it's Meta, to try and add an additional source of diversification for your business. And then we can also help you with your CRM, your sales recruiting as well. These are some of the industry leaders in our space that have shared their experience, what it was like working with us. Here's all of our case studies, how we operate, how we think about advertising and performance marketing and growth marketing. Have any questions about that? My name is Sam Sauter. I look forward to working with you, and I hope this video was helpful and valuable for you. Thanks.